because you know today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, the leaders in below the waistline grooming. And Deke, as I told you, man, we know games are about to happen. Ball security is at a premium. And the best way to secure your balls and your balls is with the Lawnmower 4.0, which is the best when it comes to trimming, man. Not only is it waterproof, it has this beautiful little light that you can turn on and off depending on where you want to use it at. So you can see, you know, some people like to shave in the nighttime, turns using their trimmer. Some people like to do it with the lights on. I'm a lights on dude, Deke. I like to see what's happening, but every once in a while I turn it off, club mode, ping, 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 ping. Have a little fun with the little light. You know what I mean? Every once in a while you got to do that, okay? But more importantly, when we are talking about Manscaped, we like to talk about them because we have a promo code, which is MOATS. Use that, you'll get 20% off of your purchase along with free shipping worldwide. So don't waste any time. Don't leave your dangly twins out there feeling too, you know, furry this time of year with the heat and stuff like that. All right. So make sure you cop that. Use the promo code and your dangly twins will definitely thank you. But my other dilemma, and this is what I really wanted to get your thoughts on, and we'll get from the chat as well. All three of these quarterbacks look their best when they're with George Pickens. All three of these dudes, all three of these dudes look elite when they're with George Pickens. Most of the time when they're making a big play downfield, it's to George Pickens. So my issue is this. I was in practice when I would watch Ben Roethlisberger cook with AB, and then I would watch Landry Jones cook with AB. But there was a big difference between those two quarterbacks when they were not with AB. One can still get it done at an elite level. The other disappeared. So when I'm watching all three of these quarterbacks and we always are praising them on their deep throws, the majority of the time, you know who is going to? George freaking Pickens. So I'm stuck now asking myself, are they good and are they improving, or are they just beneficiaries of George Pickens? And I think of how Andy Dalton was with AJ Green. Andy Dalton, Pro Bowler, good quarterback. At times, you might even think he was elite when he's throwing it to AJ Green. When AJ Green wasn't available to him, we all looked and was like, it's not quite the same. That's the part for me where I'm getting nervous about. And that's the part where I want to just simply ask you, is that something that we should be looking into potentially? Is this the George Pickens just carrying along all three of these dudes? Because when they're not throwing to George, it doesn't look like that. They could put it over here to George, he's going to get it. They could put it over here, he's going to get it. They put it over here, he's going to get it. DB right here, big, tall, doesn't matter. He's going to get it. He had one play where I thought Minka would have took his head off, but he might would have held on to it. That was yesterday. But once again, it's George Pickens. So I'm just like, if every single play that I see that looks wow or it looks exciting is stretching the fields to George, is this just that George is elite, or are these quarterbacks actually good? Or, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm kind of figuring out right now, man.
George is elite. There's no doubt about it.
Okay.
I've seen enough.
Okay.
Even though I've seen only a few highlights on Twitter, but
I've seen enough, even though, and we're going to get to him in a second. Trust me on this. But this is the part for me where I need to know about these quarterbacks from your perspective, man.
Well,
and let me know in the chat as well, man. How do you guys feel about this? Like, am I off? Am I tripping? Or is this something I should be thinking about, man?
Well, they didn't have Deontay and Claypool for most of this time either, though.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my question. Or it kind of goes to just a thought or even what I'm seeing a little bit too. Pickett, I think out of the three, hasn't had Pickens as much as the other two.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Now, what do you think of Pickett in terms of, you talked about Mitch with the leadership and stuff. Do you feel that way with Pickett? Where it's like he feels in command. It's just more of he doesn't know the playbook or doesn't.
No.
It's just still getting up to the NFL speed.
Yeah, it's not that he doesn't know the playbook. He knows the playbook. I don't want that to go out there. It's just processing when the play happens, pre-snap to post-snap. As a defender at the NFL level, we show you one thing pre-snap, post-snap is something totally different. And for a young quarterback, you're thinking O-line, you're thinking, where is this back going? You're thinking, what do I got to do? Is this 3 steps? Is this 5 step? All right, is this quick game? Is it a hot? What are my receivers running? You got all of this, and now you thought it was cover 3. Oh, it's cover 6. You thought it was cover 2. Oh, no, this is man. This is 1. Like, that's what he's also having to do. So for him, when he struggles, it's because he should have seen the first read, but it shifted coverage-wise. So now he's forced to improvise. And you see the athletic ability on display. That definitely shows with Kenny in terms of how he can extend plays and stuff like that. But some of the stuff is like, it's not necessary. If you just see this and read it the right way the first time, you don't have to play the hero. And that's the part where for Mitch, he's been the most consistent in terms of that read part of it. Even when his first read isn't there, unlike Mason, he will go, in terms of Mr. Trubisky, he will go second, third read. Whereas with Mason, his first read, check now. He's going right now. He's not even trying to process anything else. With Kenny, he's missing that first one sometimes. And now it's like, all right, let me extend it. And he can make something happen. And
that happens a lot of time with younger quarterbacks.
Absolutely, that's the case.
You could win with that way sometimes.
Yeah. So that's the situation with him, man. But with George, it's just like, dude,
sit him down. See what they got without Pickens.
I mean, bro, the 2-minute drill.
I don't want him to get hurt.
Listen, when you talk about the 2-minute drill today, bro, he legit just won it by himself. By himself. Just throw it up 2 times. Go get it. The one hand on Levi was filthy. Like, that's what he's on. But this is the other part of this equation that I need to get your thoughts on. So we know, all right, George Pickens is still early, but he's looking like he could be one of those guys. How does that make you feel about our DBs? Because the conversation is this. We know our DBs are on paper good, but the question is, can they match it with the elite receivers? So if George Pickens is supposed to be an elite receiver based on what he's been doing in camp, he's been cooking Levi Wallace, Akello Witherspoon, and Cam Sutton consistently. It's not like this just happened today. This has been every day, hands down. Nobody that they put out there on him can consistently match up with him. Going at Cam Sutton, man, he cooked Cam Sutton in the end zone. Cam Sutton pissed off, running back, and I love Cam. That's my dude. I know he got that dog. Okay. Pickens went and did it filthy on him again. Gritty another time on him. In his face. Back to back. Like, bro, what else you want? You want another one? Like, that's the energy he's on. Levi Watt. It's like, yo, it's a lot of that going on right now. So I'm asking myself, all right, are these DBs as elite as we think they are? Or do we think that they could be that? Or is this Pierre Allen 2.0? Because no, don't shake your head. Pierre Allen looked just like this all the OTAs and training camp a year ago. And when he had to face an elite receiver, Jamar Chase, Jamar was cooking him. Well, Cam Sutton, Levi Wallace, Akello Witherspoon, they look good against everybody else. They've been fine. They've been making plays. But whenever it's time for them to match up with this dude right here, that's been the reoccurring thing, man.
I think it's more about Pickens.
It's a double-edged sword. That's all I'm saying. We can't just talk Pickens.
Is that good? Is he already the GOAT?
All I'm saying is, what does that mean for our DBs, though?
I don't think there's anything you could tell me right now that's going to change my mind on how I feel about this team going into this season.
That's fine. But what does that mean for our DBs, though? Because if our DBs are struggling like this with him, I'm just thinking of in our division who we face at wide receiver, who we face in the AFC at wide receiver in terms of the higher end talented guys. All the teams that we're going to be talking about as beating down the stretch, they got these guys. So that was the part for me where I was just like, man.
They getting help at all? Or is it more for the offense's favor? Like, hey, we're just going one-on-one.
11 on 11. I'm not talking
so we're not. Are we having safety help on these guys too? He's just torching everyone.
Specific 11 on 11. You heard the Minka element, right? That's 11 on 11 at times. That's all. So once again, I don't bring it up just to bring it up. I'm bringing it up because I'm asking, like, legit, does that change your context of how we think about our DBs right now? Because there hasn't been one bad day from George Pickens. I think it's just more
about Pickens. But
okay,
I get the sentiment. I just don't think my mind's going to be changed till I see it in the regular season. Because last time I saw Akello, he looked pretty damn good in the regular season. Levi Wallace has looked pretty good for the Bills. So until I see it in the regular season, I feel pretty good about our corners. Okay. But I think you bring up fair. I mean, you're the one out there.
That's my only thing. I'm just like, we haven't seen, or I haven't seen anybody in our secondary in terms of a DB look like they have an answer for George. That's my only thing.
That's good for our offense. That's good for Pickens.
Yeah.
As long as one of these quarterbacks can get him the ball, because who's going to be an answer for Pickens then?
That's the other part.
I mean, there are some better corners out in the league, but still, I mean, Pickens is only one guy. Then we also have Deontay and Claypool and Fryer.
I'm with you on that, man.
This offense could be good.
I'm with you on that, man. We will see, man. We will definitely see. But the other thing in terms of, and this is all context, I'm not full on panicky about our DBs because we also know we have a pass rush to help us out. My only thing in terms of when I think of the way our team is constructed, the way our defense is constructed specifically, it just reminds me of that New York Giants team that beat the Patriots for the Super Bowl, right? When that D-line was on point with Strahan, Osi Umenyiora, Justin Tuck and stuff like that, when all those guys, J.C. Pierre-Paul, when they were on their game, that secondary looked good. Those linebackers looked good. As a whole, their team was tough to beat, which is why they won the Super Bowl. But you also remember that team was not undefeated because when that defensive line was whether it was banged up or they just didn't have one of those games that we knew that they could play up to, that's when their team would get exposed. Now, to me, I think we're still good because TJ and Cam definitely are guys that we can hang our hat on and bank on them.
The rushing's been a litall lighter too in camp, right? Because I've seen dudes roll by and okay, they could hit the quarterback, but they let the play go on a little bit.
That's all of that context is it, and I'm speaking on specific plays, like because of that context. A lot of people don't relate to that. They just assume, that would have been a touchdown. I was like, no, that's a sack. Don't even waste your time talking about that play right there. That's kind of how I look at it. But going back to the situation, though, it's like with our D-line, they just have to show up. As long as they show up every single game the way that they're capable of, we'll be fine. You don't have to have elite corners with the front that we have. But our front has to, number one, stay healthy, and they got to just show up week in and week out. As long as they do that, I think we're fine with those guys because you're not going to have all that time. Mm-hmm. They're going to be chased. You know what I mean? It's going to be some of that going on. But they can't, I don't feel like personally right now that they can have a game where they're just okay. Like, I think that this D-line is going to have to show up and be that elite unit week in and week out for us to be what we want us to be this year.
Fair.
Yeah.
Who has looked the best against Pickens, if you had to say? It's got to be Akello, right?
That's like saying who looks the best against Antonio Brown. It was like, no one? He's cooking them all?
I think it's time for us to sit Pickens. I don't want to see him in preseason at this point. I know people are excited to see him. I kind of am too. I want to unleash him week one. I don't want people to start the hype train after seeing some highlights because there's going to be a highlight or two in this first preseason game.
But this is the thing, though.
I want it down a little bit. I want to surprise everyone.
No, part of me says you sit him, but the other part says this. I need to know if he is that good or if our corners are not who we think they are. Because we haven't seen him against outside competition. We've seen him against our three in-house corners. Now, granted, he's matched up against some of the other guys, but in terms of our top three guys that we view as starters, we know that even with those three guys, they're still in that stage of their career where they're trying to prove that they can definitively be cornerback 1 or cornerback 2. You know what I mean? So we're still learning about them. So that's the part for me with George where I'm like, as much as I would, and I want to think like how you think in the sense of,
it's not going to happen.
It's just like, man, I don't know without a shadow of a doubt that these three are who I think they are anyways. So that's the part where I'm like, I still need to see George. I need to see it. And I don't even know in terms of Seattle,
if we're going to get the matchups. Yeah,
I was like, I don't feel like they have it. Yeah. So that's the thing where I'm like, we'll see him against other NFL players, but I'm not going to get to see him until probably week 1. Good. Yeah, it's going to be probably week 1 where you're looking at him against the Eli Apple or something. Like, all right, but is Eli Apple compared to Akello and Levi and Cam Sutton? To me, they're still in that same ballpark. So we'll see.
Pickens is that guy, though.
Yeah. But in terms of who looks better, like, I like Cam Sutton because he competes against him. If that makes it any better. But it's like, okay, cool. You the guy that keeps getting beat. All right. I mean, I'm happy that you are eager to go out there and you'll have your plays where you look good. But as a whole, it's one of them things where.
Now, there were reports about Claypool doing really well his rookie season. Is this anything like that, or is this like times 10?
No, this is different. Like Claypool, it was the size element. And he would flash, but it still wasn't like
this is like every damn day. Correct. Like 3 or 4 where people are just like, holy hell.
This reminds me of how we used to talk about AB in practice, where you're just watching him, you're like, bro, it doesn't matter who you're putting out there. It doesn't matter what drill. It doesn't matter what day it is. He's consistent. We don't have somebody that's locking him up right now. We don't have somebody that's winning their fair share of them right now. Not saying that our DBs aren't capable, because they have shown at times. But when you're talking about if we're doing the best out of 10, it's not a 60-40. It's not a 50-50. It's not that. You know what I mean? So It's like, yeah, you fought hard, but you still got the black eye, busted nose, and your mouth leaking. Like, that's what it looks like right now. So, yeah, we'll see, though, man. Saturday is going to be big, though, man.
We got to get Pickett more reps with picking.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Make it fair.
Get your guy out
Trubisky,
there.
yeah, him and Mason, they're benefiting from all these reps with Pickens.
Trust me, though, man. They're doing right by your guy. That's all I'm going to say, man.